Heyo, it's Omnidog here. How's everybody doing? Good to see everybody. I get so many nice messages. Thank you all so much for all the nice messages on my this week's previous two videos. You guys are great. I have the best fans in the world. I just think, in the whole world. I get messages from all over the place, just asking how I am, happy to see me. I can't tell you how much that means to me. You guys are all great. Thank you all so much. So here's where I return the favor and tell you about some hidden gems. The first one I'm going to do is, because my iPad's running out of power, is something that was suggested to me. These are all hidden gems that you may not have heard of, or you heard of them and just sort of thought, is it any good? These are all good, because I'm calling it hidden gems. I'm not calling it hidden stones of crappy crap. So the first book was recommended to me by a viewer. His name is Mark Spector, or am I Jake Lockley? And he recommended to me The Kill Lock. And I read this on Hoopla here in the States. What a great book this is. It's all, if you can see this little robot with the X on him, the X means the kill lock has been installed in him. This is a robot society, and I'm going to try not to spoil it, but tell you enough to get you interested in. You don't know how hard this is. Arrgh! Okay, I'm all right. It's a robot society. And first of all, the art is phenomenal. And the kill lock gets applied to criminals that are robots. There are various classes of robots, which I'll tell you about. And the kill lock is placed on criminals. And they're put together 3 or 4 at a time. And if one of them dies, they all die. So the creator of the kill lock, the Axial, well, I don't want to spoil why she created it, but she created the kill lock. She's a robot also. She created the kill lock with an interesting idea behind it. All the robots see it as a form of punishment, and indeed it is. You know, if one goes, the rest go too. So they need to protect each other, or they're all going to die. A lot of the robots go off-world to live lives alone, so they don't, because there's also bounties on them for their parts. So some go as far away as possible, live quiet lives. Others mix in the streets, whatever. The reason this book is so great is because it's not just human personalities in robot forms. These robots, I'll tell you who they are. I just wanted to show off a little bit more. This guy at the bottom is known as the Artisan, and he's quite smart. He designs other things, and he's kind of like Karnak from the Inhumans. He sees the flaws in all things. He's also the most devious. There's also, let's see if I can get a good picture of them together here. We have a couple other cast members, the Laborer and the Child. The Laborer has a drinking problem, and his innards are getting worn away with his use of alcohol. And then one of the most interesting characters is the Wrath. The Wrath is extremely, extremely powerful, and he has well, I don't want to tell you what drives him, but he is extremely powerful, Well, no, I'll tell you. He has been programmed to believe, to wipe out all impurities and immoralities that he sees. There's a lot of these wraths around. They're known for going in and wiping out cities that they consider like Sodom and Gomorrah. But he is also extremely powerful. Look at this picture. This is such a good picture. This author and illustrator, I'll find her name at the end because I can't flip through it like a regular book. She does a wonderful job on everything. So you got the kid, who's like a small unfinished robot, the laborer, the artisan, and the wrath. They've all got the kill lock on them. They have to protect each other. Obviously, I've already said that. So the story is how they go about protecting each other. And they have a mission. I'll tell you the main mission because it doesn't spoil it, because I'm not telling you how they do the mission. They want to find the creator of the kill lock and get it unlocked so they can go on and live their lives. So that's what the story is about, how they go about doing that. You see a lot of familiar, well, not familiar, but you see a softening in some of them to protect the child. And so that's a lot of the book. No matter where they go or what they do, their prime function for right now is to protect the child. He's been deemed a criminal. You get X for being a criminal. These guys have all done something criminally wrong. If I didn't say that in the beginning, I apologize. But they feel protective. Even the wrath and the artisan, who is the artisan is extremely cunning and extremely smart. He designs all the machines and sees the flaw in all things. And he may be a little bit sociopathic. Or is he? Because at the end of the book, there are deep character analyses for all the characters. And it's brilliantly written, and it helps you understand the motivations of these characters. So this is way more than just about robots. This is about a group coming together, trying to figure out what they can do to keep each other safe while going on. They don't have a straight track to their mission. There's other things that get, there's side quests and other robots are coming in, but it's a world, a galaxy full of robots. It's brilliantly illustrated, compellingly written, and I found it to be very moving. And that's something to say for a book about robots. These are more than just robots. You will relate to these guys. Some of them, they're all very interesting with their interesting quirks because they are robots. So they've been designed to do certain things, and now they've been forced to think a different way, in a different manner than they were programmed for, and they are gathering some capability of free thought. And I think this book is brilliant. I am considering it for one of the top places in the top 500 or however many I come up with at the end of the year. And it's a continuing series. If you want, it ends bit of a cliffhanger, but you could be satisfied with that and stop there. But I'm pretty sure it goes on. I know it goes on because I just saw a solicitation for other books for it, other issues that are coming out now. I highly recommend you read Kill Lock. Great book. Very interesting character study into the emotions and inner workings of sentient robots that have are afraid of dying, don't want to die, and are trying to figure out a way out of it. I thought it was great. And I tried not to give away too much. Secret by that guy Hickman. It's an early book by him. You'll understand this reference within the first 2 pages. I'm not going to give it away, and I'll try not to show any of it. It's got very nice art in it, and it's an industrial espionage tale. And as with all industrial espionage tales, especially written by Hickman, ins, outs, feints, misdirections, things are, of course, uncovered. So you say, well, I've read industrial espionage stories before. What's so great about this? Hey, all I can tell you is Hickman does a great job of making this super interesting and compelling and really good all the way to the end. Notably, there are no charts in this book. Usually you get a Hickman book and it's full of diagrams and charts and, things that extend pages and pages. None of that here. The espionage, let me just set it up without giving anything away. There's a main character along with an assistant, and they are responsible for safeguarding the data from other companies. Sometimes the methods they use to get that business is not always above board. But let me just say that the main character, these guys are all, the main characters are all kick-ass. For industrial espionage, these guys are trained killers too, I think. They're highly trained and motivated to protect each other and themselves. I don't want to give anything away. I hate this. No, I love it. So it does involve Cold War characters who are still alive and running around, and that is what the industrial espionage guys end up dealing with, is Cold War shenanigans that they uncover and what they should do about them and how it's going to help their careers or ruin their lives. It's a fast read. It's not a complex read. It benefits from a second reading, just so you, because while there's only a handful of characters, you want to get the, I had to read it a second time so I could keep the characters straight. That's me. You may just breeze through it. I thought this was a great book. I have a lot of respect, obviously, for Hickman. I think he writes everything I've read, even these initial books that he's put out. This is an early one from Image, I think. I don't see it get a lot of press or a lot of love, and I think that needs to change. I really enjoyed this industrial espionage book that leaves you guessing at who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. Are there good guys? Is anybody a good guy? Are there bad guys? Hey, you got to read it to find out. Go get it. Right? Okay. The next book is a book that's been sitting on my shelf forever, and I had an extra copy, and I gave it to the Minister of Comics. He and I both really dug this book. It's by Peter J. Tomasi, good writer, Light Brigade. And as you can see on the cover, that looks like an angel fighting with a soldier, and indeed that's what it's about. It's set in World War II. What I liked the most about this book is the realistic portrayal of how infantrymen speak to each other. It felt the dialogue felt very real as to how they treat each other, the infantrymen, and that sets up a lot of the tension in it. So it's World War II. The American soldiers are getting close to a position where the German army is, and all of a sudden they get they come upon, okay, wait, I don't want to spoil it. Angels are involved. Good angels, fallen angels, good angels and fallen angels. And there's also some holy relics that need to be protected to prevent the end times. And how Tomasi designs the storage and protection for these relics is fascinating. And it's more than just good and evil. It's about faith. It's about, of course, it's about how man treats his fellow man. It's a lot about faith, and it goes into a lot about why the fallen angel has picked this particular time, and why the angel that's heaven sent was sent to give the American army the tools it needs. You can see I'm trying hard not to spoil this. But there are very realistic combat scenes. It can get really bloody at times. The artwork is really nice. And one thing that will help you that will benefit you, there are a lot of characters in this book to keep track of on the American side. So I read it twice so I could make sure, of course I read everything twice to make sure I know what I'm talking about for reviews, but I read everything twice. I read this twice so I could keep track of all the various soldiers that were involved. And there is one main soldier that is involved in this that the book sort of highlights. What the angel provides the American soldiers is really cool, a very interesting concept, and how they are given access to what the angel wants to give them. And the war goes on, except for these guys have taken a detour from what their main goal was, because it turns out the end of the world could be happening unless they follow the orders of what they were given by the angel from heaven to defeat the fallen angel. Super bloody, very interesting, super interesting concept. I really dug, as I said, I really dug the way the dialogue and the scenes of battle, or just the scene. A lot of it is these guys talking together amongst themselves about what to do next and where they are and how it came to be. And as I said, they treat each other about the way I think that soldiers really treated each other in this war. That's not to say they were jerks to each other all the time, but it wasn't a pleasant situation, and not everybody got treated equally or pleasantly. You know, different personalities in a huge group of Army servicemen. You're going to find a lot of different ways that people are going to act towards each other. Great book. Loved it. Light Brigade by Peter J. Tomasi. Hope I didn't give too much away, but World War II, Avenging Angels, Fallen Angels, that's my kind of book. And this is definitely staying in the collection. Now, my last book isn't really a hidden gem, but I think it might be a misunderstood gem. It's written by Mark Waid, and it's called History of the Marvel Universe. Now, I told a friend of mine about this book, and he said he thought it was just a list of all the Marvel characters that ever existed. I didn't know any better, and I read the book. Mark Waid does an amazing job with the Marvel Universe because if you're familiar with the Marvel Universe, you know a lot of stuff got set up in the late Silver Age, Bronze Age, about beings like the Celestials and the Elder Gods, the Infinity Gems, the Watcher, Ego, the Macran Crystal, Galactus, the Brood, all these, the Phoenix Force. Just recently I saw that at the beginning of time. I can't remember what book it was, but there was the Phoenix Force, the Ghost Rider Force, Sorcerer Supreme Force, and the Moon Knight Force. I think that it came too late to get retconned into this book. But my point is, Marvel is a difficult universe to understand, especially in the cosmic part, because so many races were created by these, and so many cosmic beings were created. Like, there's an enormous amount of these not celestial beings, but cosmic beings that got created. And Mark Waid tells the story of the Marvel Universe from start to finish in chronological order as a really cool story that the Franklin Richards from Another Reality, I believe he's from Another Reality, is having an end of time discussion with a fading Galactus. And he asks Galactus, tell me, remember what happened. And so we start out with the eruption, Eternity, Master Order, Lord Chaos, and Death, the Living Tribunal. It would start with that, but it goes on in story form to tell you who all these guys are in chronological order, and it makes for a really interesting read. Because I thought this was just going to be, I didn't know it was going to be a story. I thought, now, one thing that, if you're wondering, not only is there a story, but you get your appendix of at the end of the book, of every Marvel individual. So that's not what this book is. This is part of the book, but this isn't the whole thing. Then before that, in an even cooler format, is the annotations of the Marvel Universe. And it's their first appearances, starting from the beginning, their first appearances and little blurbs about them all up to the modern day. I mean, this is a book in itself that's interesting, these annotations. It tells about everybody, the Inhumans, Adelan, Asgardia, all the realms, the War of the Realms, Malekith, Nathaniel Richards. This goes on for like that much of the book. All these really cool annotations. You could just read these annotations and be happy. But Mark Waid does such a great job of telling the story of all the characters as it happened, as I said, chronologically, and makes it an interesting story. It's a remembrance of what happened by Fading Galactus to Franklin Richards, and it's told as a story, and it helps so much to understand, especially to me. I fully admit and I always have, I'm not the best guy on Marvel. DC was what I read growing up. Marvel is something I was a little bit late to the game on. I'm catching up as hard as I can. But when you come upon the Elder Gods in the middle of a story, or you come upon Cable and Hope and things like that, this helps explain everything how it happened in a really readable, wonderful form. Hats off to Mark Waid. He's done so much that I love. I know this was an undertaking, a labor of love, but wow, he really had to put in his research for this. To take the very beginning, a bunch of stuff that was retconned in the Bronze Age about how the Marvel Universe started, and then blend it into a really fun story to read. If you like Marvel at all, this is a book that needs to be in your collection. It's not just an index, although it has an index. It's a great story, well told, well illustrated. Look at how it's set up. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of different people in there, and it gets told really well. But this, I mean, it's page after page of just boss action and retelling of the story of the Marvel history. If you have the slightest interest in the Marvel University, if you have the slightest interest, this book is for you. If you're a super big Marvel head, you'll love this book. If you're a medium Marvel head like I am, I love this book too. This is a gift. This is a treasure for us. Mark Waid has given us a gift of understanding the Marvel Universe. And it's treasury sized, I think it's called. It's quite big and beautiful, and just a ton of fun. So while this isn't a hidden gem, I think it's a misunderstood gem, because people may think, as I said, it's just a bunch of indexes. This is a really fun story, really well written by Mark Waid, and fantastically researched. So that gets a huge 5 out of 5 stars from me. You can't do any better than that book. That book is a labor of love. Marvel heads everywhere, celebrate and read that book. It is phenomenal. So I continue to try to put out as many videos as I can. And maybe 3 in 1 week is too much. Let me know. Maybe you'd rather have me space it out to do 2 a week. I'm trying as hard as I can to get more videos out on the days that I feel good. So, I mean, I know I had none for 6 weeks, so I wanted to just blurt out all these 3 this week, just so I wanted you to know that I'm still here. So let me know if 3 in 1 week is too much, if you'd rather have 2 in a week, if you don't want to see me at all, go right to near mint condition if you don't want to see me at all. He tastes complaints about me. So thank you very much for watching. Peace and love, peace and love. Please feel free to subscribe, hit the notification bell, give me a like, Leave a comment. I love comments. You guys, I've discovered so many books and I think made friends on it with people I don't even know. So feel free to leave a message. I'll always answer it. Peace and love. Peace and love. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys are the greatest.